everybody, and welcome to the first official video of Cross Country Challenger. Today we're going to be doing a bit of an homage to the Grand Tours episode Jags, where Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May ended up taking 3 Jags from Grand Junction, Colorado, all the way up to Telluride, taking this very road. Along the way, we're going to go and do a couple stops at some of the places where they ended up staying, such as over in Gateway, where one of them also got pulled off, over by the hanging looms, and then finally end our trip at the beginning of the slopes, where they ended up taking those 3 Jaguars down a slope. And just before that, we'll also make a quick stop at the top of the airport in Telluride. And without further ado, we are making our headway to Telluride. A lot of the weather is supposed to go ahead and be a bit harsh. About another couple inches of snow, but I'm not too worried about it. It will be just fine. However, if the road conditions do end up getting worse, I'll go ahead and be posting the video about as much as what I have and ending it from there. But so far, the roads are nothing more than fairly dry and decent weather. Past Red Veil all the way up to Telluride, there should be more snow and a little bit of ice. Which at that point, we'll go and proceed with the utmost caution. sometime this afternoon. Still continuing on this very nice looking day out here in the canyon. Roads are still very dry. I believe once we get to Redvale, that's when it's going to start getting a little bit more choppy. I'm going to crack open a monster here to go and keep myself awake. best idea considering that the storm could hit at any sort of moment. Which again, not too worried about, but I'd rather not tempt fate. It a little bit prettier in my opinion. Stretch of road right here. A lot of fun. If you're ever looking for a place to go and see how fast you get 0 to 60, I would recommend probably over here. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more snow over here than what I thought there'd be. It's kind of funny too, you can just see the contrast between on the right side that there's like not a whole lot of snow to maybe a little bit, and then looking to the left, it's just like a perfect, like not perfect, but it's a nice white blanket of snow. But instead, we're going to hit it about 40. I think we're probably just going to coast through it. Still don't have a signal, but that's fine. It's got a little bit darker down here too, which is kind of neat. Definitely know more of the scenery is far worth looking at on this drive that we're taking. now entering Gateway. It's kind of a nice small little town here. They got a great hotel, which is where Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May once again have stayed, which we'll go ahead and do a quick pull off just to go ahead and show where it's at. Yep, you see, here we are. We're now in the town of Gateway. They also had a car museum out here. I don't quite know if it's still open, but the car museum that they had was a really big collection of cars, and they had a one-of-a-kind car in that collection known as an Oldsmobile F88. Go ahead and look that up. There's only about one of them left in the world. It was a very beautiful car. It was kind of done in a nice champagne gold kind of color. And it was right here in Gateway at that museum, but I guess the brother of the owner ended up buying out his collection and took that car, and I don't quite think anybody really knows where that car's at anymore, which is a shame. I've never seen that car in person, but I think it would have been absolutely amazing to go ahead and see it. They had like a Lazy Susan for it, and this car would just sit there and spin on that Lazy Susan. It was an absolutely beautiful and gorgeous car. The entire collection used to be much, much bigger, much prettier, but I guess they've cut it down to such a degree where all it is now is just Corvettes and Camaros and a few other kind of odd cars. And as you can see to our right here, this is the hotel where Jeremy Clarkson and the other two ended up actually staying here overnight as they continued their drive down this road. So we're just going to go and do a quick pull off over here. Oh, well, actually, it looks like it's closed, so... All right, well, never mind. So we're just going to go ahead and continue on then. But yes, this is the hotel where they ended up staying, and during the filming made jokes about how Jaguar owners are always known for stealing things. And in that episode, they tried to go and make off with a bunch of different things. If you guys have not seen that, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's on Amazon Prime. Definitely a lot of fun, and this video is obviously not sponsored by anybody. This is something I just kind of want to go and do for myself, and just something fun to go and share with people. And what I'm planning to go ahead and hope and do with this channel in the future is make more content that's kind of like this, and hopefully, and if anything, probably not really do live streams anymore because due to signal issues. Thinking if anything, probably just posting videos and having guest riders along in the car, in the Challenger, to be able to go and enjoy these road trips. And where we'll end up going with these road trips, we'll probably just end up going to a bunch of random different places that most people probably wouldn't go to, kind of more stuff that's like off the beaten path. Definitely be a lot of fun, and I'm definitely very much looking forward to continuing doing the rest of that. The video posting will kind of be a little bit inconsistent, but we'll still go ahead and be posting videos from time to time of our travels. And hopefully with that, the channel will go ahead and continue to grow. I know I haven't done a whole lot of talking towards the beginning of this video. It's a little bit hard to go and try to figure out stuff on the spot. I don't have a script for any of this. I'm just kind of winging a lot of it, really. And once again, also filming on my phone, which is why I'm also not really doing the live stream at the moment. I started at the beginning of this road trip trying to go ahead and stream it, but my phone decided to go and overheat, so I'm thinking within the next time we go ahead and plan another road trip, I'll actually have like a camcorder to be able to go and just record the entire thing without any sort of issues. And it will probably end up making the process a lot simpler to go and also upload to YouTube, because I'm going to have to go ahead and go through and cut back to some of the streaming I did on Twitch to go ahead and snip all the videos together to make it one consecutive video. And it's going to have random camera jumps. I do apologize for that. I'll also put a bit of a prenup, not a prenup, but I'll put a bit of a disclosure at the very front of the video when I get this all posted on YouTube. And you'll probably end up hearing this part of the video again, or at least you'll hear this part of the video that I'm talking about when I go ahead and post it in comments about how the filming process went with this. Because again, I'm kind of doing this as a bit of a spur of the moment sort of deal, and that's what I'm kind of planning on doing with some of the channel too, is random weekends or random times I've got off to go ahead and do stuff like this, of just cruising on random parts throughout the country of places that just most people wouldn't normally go ahead and take a drive along, such as we're going right now. Because most people usually wouldn't take this road here to go to Telluride, but I figured it's a very beautiful drive. I know a lot of people would like to go and see some of the views with it, which is why I've tried to make sure that I'm recording what I can with it, and I know it's going to be, again, a bit choppy towards the beginning of the video. But it's honestly, guys, it's a very beautiful drive out here. Road's fairly well maintained, at least some parts of it are. But nonetheless, though, it's still a very beautiful drive, very scenic kind of drive. It's a lot of fun. Because it is a bit of an open range around here. Yeah, it's a very nice drive around here. And if you guys ever have the time to go and do it, I'd recommend just plan a random road trip and just go somewhere you haven't been before. It's definitely well worth it. Because I know when I first ended up actually taking this drive myself towards the beginning of the summer this year, 2025, I took it with my brother, and we just kind of had a blast just looking around and just enjoying the sights of it all. And it's kind of actually nice to see that this part of the canyon doesn't have a whole lot of snow in it, because I thought this part was absolutely just beautiful over here. We're going to see, and if I remember correctly, there was actually another spot where Richard Hammond broke down around here in his Jag. Then he pulled off to the side of the road, but I don't know if I'm going to remember entirely exactly where he got pulled off at or where he did pull off at. I do know it is on this road, and I've seen that episode so many times. But yeah, it's definitely it's a very pretty drive, and I think a lot of people enjoy this kind of thing, or just any drive in general, really. snow up there today, so should be fun to see how the Challenger likes the snow. This is another big thing that wanted to go and do with this channel is, again, take a Dodge Challenger, not sponsored by the way, and just go to random places in a car that most people wouldn't imagine you would take something like this to. Looks like the temperature's even picked up a little bit too. This morning when we first left for our journey, it was about 36 degrees in Junction. And then now as we're traveling through the canyon here, looks like it's about 41 degrees outside, which isn't too bad. It's definitely a lot better than it being 29 or 28, which is where Telluride's going to end up being at. But I think it'll still be kind of nice. When I went on this road trip beforehand, like I said earlier, during the summer, when we got to Telluride, the entire area of Telluride was completely dead. There was nobody there, and it was kind of fun just walking around through a ghost townish sort of setting. There was maybe one restaurant open where me and my brother ended up grabbing a slice of pizza up there. I think it was, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was called Crazy Elk or something. They had some really good pizza out there, but it was just really cool walking around, and there was just nobody up there. But this time I wanted to go up there and see how Telluride is when it's during the winter, when it's as lively as it should be, because I've never actually been to Telluride during their busy season, and I think it'd be a pretty fun experience to go ahead and just see how Telluride's atmosphere really is. And once again, we're also going to be stopping just before we actually get into the slopes of Telluride itself. We're going to actually stop towards the airport in Telluride, because during that episode of the Grand Tour, they actually did a competition to go from 0 to 100 and brake as hard as they could before they got to the end of that airstrip. And it's honestly a really pretty view from at the top up there where that airport's at. If we're lucky, we might be able to go and see maybe a plane or two possibly be landing or taking off from there. Not entirely sure how busy that airport is during the winter season. I'd imagine it's going to be busier than what it was during the beginning of summer and spring. But it should be a lot of fun to go and see it. road's gotten a lot smoother now, and it's pretty good. And actually, if we're lucky, by the time we get out of this canyon, there's going to be another spot we're going to stop at for just a quick bit. Oh, passing another cattle guard. Actually, it's right around here, this turnoff right there. I believe, yep, that turnoff right there that we just passed is actually right where Richard Hammond ended up having a breakdown in one of the Jaguars that he used during that episode. I can't exactly remember exactly what the problem with the car was, but they pulled off right over there. It's really cool to go ahead and know that that's where one of them ended up stopping in this canyon as they were driving through, and then re-pulled back on to the right over here, as you can see. That's another ripple strip. But no, it's just kind of fun knowing that we had somebody about as popular as they were come through our little neck of the woods is really cool. And to continue on with what I want to try to do with this channel is I want to try to go ahead and do also paying like homages to like all the car shows we've all grown up with, such as Top Gear, Roadkill, and a few other ones, because I think it'd just be a lot of fun to go ahead and travel down the same roads that those same guys have come down, which I think is a really cool idea to me, honestly. Just driving the same roads that they've been on, and maybe even have some of the same experiences that they have, not to the regard of like breakdowns or whatnot, but sharing in those kind of moments of, you know, having good friends and good people around to go ahead and experience those kind of fun little bits of life with is definitely something I look forward to on the channel when we get some more guest passengers on the channel. that's when we can start having more of those icy conditions show up. By a river. Still a lot more of the canyon walls over here, still looking really pretty with the reds and the browns in them. Even during the winter and like the cloud coverage that we have, it's still really pretty to look at. Granted, they're not as vibrant colors as they would be if the sun's out. Rumble strip. It's not as pretty as how it would be if the sun was out, but still nonetheless, it's very nice to look at. across a creek. Starting to go and come up and out of the valley as we make our way to continue on. Hopefully, and I think it's roughly within the next 10 minutes of this drive here, we're going to end up coming up onto the Hanging Looms. This will be a nice little place to go and get a quick stretch in and talk a little bit about that spot from the episode of Jags. Road work there. As you can see now, we're partially above the canyon wall. It's a very nice view. Not a whole lot of snow through here either, which, you know, no problem with that. Again, it'll be definitely fun. Actually kind of going through some snow. I haven't been through any snow in this car yet, but I'm kind of looking forward to the challenge of it. Granted, I'm not going to go like crazy about driving like a fool through all the snow, you know, but definitely something to go and experience. I've had a few other rear-wheel driven vehicles before I got this car, and it was certainly fun in those other two. This one I think will definitely be fun with as well. I know it gets a bit squirrely sometimes, and even fluttering the gas from time to time in those weather conditions can be a little bit spooky. I know I've talked to a couple other people who've had that sort of same issue, but I'm not entirely too worried about it because I've lived in Colorado for pretty much most of my life and kind of used to this sort of strange weather that we get from time to time. But nonetheless, I think it's still going to be a lot of fun. And actually, if you could see it now just ahead of us, I believe actually that is where our next stop is going to be on our trip today. Yep, that's it right over there. we'll just go ahead and pull off here, go ahead and talk a little bit about this spot while I get a little bit of a stretch in for my legs. Because right now we've been on the road for roughly about an hour, hour and a half now. Alright, so we'll go and just step out here for a second and we'll go ahead and talk a little bit about this spot. Last time we were up here, there was actually, and it looked like there was a car that wrecked down in this canyon here. We can see if we could find it again. Oh, yep, there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And just right down over there is a wrecked car, which is kind of interesting. Don't know how long that's been there for, but it is kind of neat. It is. Oh, actually, there's two wrecked cars over here. You can see them both in the frame there. Don't know why that they're still there, and I think maybe the reason why they haven't recovered them is probably just due to it being a little bit of a hazardous operation to get down into there, and they don't want to risk destroying the flumes. But yeah, no. So it's pretty interesting to know that that's just right there. And over there, that's just where we came from. And we're going to continue our journey through this canyon here. Continuing our path just down over there. And by the time we end up getting to the other side of it, we should still be on 141. And then eventually end our trip either at the Telluride Airport or Telluride itself. But, yeah, so let's go ahead and hop back into the Challenger and continue our journey. Honestly, it's a really pretty spot up here, and during the summer it's a lot nicer weather. It's not as cold. It's always just the colors light up a little bit more during the summer as well through all this. And actually there's another, before we get back into the Challenger, there's actually another plaque over here. I'll go ahead and film real quick for you guys if you want to go and just read it whenever you get a chance, or if you want to. I think they've also got a few more of the plumes. Oh, yeah, go ahead and film that too while I'm at it. There's actually more of the preserved flumes over there. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Kind of fun. And coming over to this side here. And just actually straight ahead of us, as we zoom in, there is a better condition of those flumes that spans further into the canyon, or at least parts of it where it would be. It'd actually go further down in there. But that's probably the best part of the flumes that is right there, and it actually wraps around right underneath us, but I can't quite film that due to one, having a fence, and two, I'm not a big fan of heights. All right, so with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and continue on to go ahead and make our way to Telluride. But if you guys ever get a chance, it's definitely a lot of fun coming out here and doing drives like this. Because you'll see a lot of things that you never would think you would on random drives. There's also the Hanging Flume County. Can't really quite see some of this information on these, but we'll try to go ahead and get them here for you guys. And this entire thing is actually just one giant map that they have of the area, which is cool. So that's fun. All right, let's go ahead and hop back in the Challenger and continue on. Sorry, I thought I saw something. As you can see, these canyon walls are pretty neat, and just the way they've been formed over years and years. I'm gonna have to do a lot of stitching. I apologize, Phil. I'll definitely have to go and do a lot of stitching in here for getting this video all together. Because like I said, I thought I'd configure it, go and do a live stream through here, but turns out I was wrong. If I had better equipment, I would, but like I said, I'm also just filming from my phone here, so I'm doing about the best I can with what I've got. But I think so far it's been working out pretty well. I promise next time I go and do this, I'm actually going to have a better camera setup for inside the car here to go ahead and record. And hearing you guys' feedback could also definitely go and help as well. Which obviously I'll be looking at the comments for this video. Whenever I get it posted, I'm hoping to go and get it posted maybe tomorrow. If not a little bit later, within next week. When I get a chance to. But definitely is a really pretty drive out here. A lot of the sites are very well worth coming to take a look at if you guys are ever within the area and just want to go ahead and cruise somewhere. This is definitely worth the drive. End up seeing some more on this trip as well, with a few other folks that are either camping about or also just kind of doing the same thing and enjoying the weekend. Guard through here, and looks like it's opened up a little bit here in this canyon as well, and that's actually where we're going, is just straight ahead of us. Really kind of pretty, and you can see down over to the right there's a frontage road over there that's just completely covered in snow. It's kind of cool. It just looks like one giant white track of snow that nobody's been on right next to the river. It's kind of cool, even though I know there's tire marks that are over there, but it's kind of funny just to see how there's just this entire white patch of road that's there, and then the rest of this is pretty much just dry with only small bits of snow on it. kind of opened up a little bit more on the right side here, and I think it's going to be like this throughout, if I remember correctly, it's actually like this throughout the rest of this stretch of road as we continue on here. Those clouds are starting to come back a little bit here. They're not as dark as they were before, but still definitely a lot of cloud coverage today. Looks like over to the right, somebody did a little bit of burning over there. Maybe there's a small fire. It looks like there's another stop that's over there, but unfortunately, that's not exactly anywhere we could go and stop. It looks like they have that closed for the season as well. Now we're passing the San Mingle River, or Mugen, however you say it. Words are difficult. Once again, we're going to be passing by no cattle guard here in just a second. And there it was. Looks like we got a couple more trees we're going to go and be passing by here, which is kind of a neat little diversity that we have here along this road, is that it can usually go anywhere between just regular plains to somewhat of a forest to closely knit canyon walls. Is always kind of fun. Certainly changes up the drive a little bit so that way it's not like always the same thing. got some more decent bends coming around the corner, so this will be fun. Like a little bit more of an opened up area that we're driving through. Still a lot of trees around next to the river. In all honesty, these bends actually aren't too terrible. I remember them being worse, but it's been a minute since I've actually been out on this road to go ahead and film this. Pick up some speed from 45 to 65. Looks like now we're going to start dropping back down into the canyon just a little bit. The revving's going to end up sounding on the video, but I'd imagine it's probably going to be a little bit louder. So, in case you guys are listening to this or watching it with headphones in, I'd probably be a little bit careful about how loud you have it. Oh, there's a big semi passing by us. That was fun. Looks like we're coming back to some areas that's got a little bit more snow on it than what we've seen in about the past 20 to 30 minutes. forever around here. Rumble strip.
New text message from Crystal.
Sounds like we just got done getting some signal again, so that's cool. Might be able to go and throw it back up on live stream, but odds are I'm probably just going to continue to record as we've been doing. Just because it's going to be just a little bit easier to go and get this all uploaded to the YouTube, and also I have to do less cutting of, or at least I guess stitching other pieces of videos together. Up over here, it's actually a really nice view. Again, the canyon's opened up once more. There's definitely a lot more trees around. Over to the left side. I'm also hoping that in the future too, I'm going to have a better way to go ahead and post my phone up for the drives, because right now all I've got is just a standard phone mount that I've got hooked on between my radio and my dash, as everyone can go ahead and see. Unfortunately, it doesn't swivel, and I personally don't want to go ahead and like try to swivel it as I'm driving, because that could end up being kind of dangerous. So I'm hoping in the future I'll have a better like mount or better camera with like a tripod or something like that to be able to go ahead and maneuver it around a little bit more, so I can go and show you guys what I'm looking at over on my left side of the rumble strip. There's a lot of birds. Oh yeah, there we go. Well, we can go and see this now, but yeah, there's a lot of trees that are within the area, and just to my left over here, there's kind of a lot of empty spaces. Oh, and looks like somebody went off right there, at least a while ago. Looks like somebody ran off the road. But yeah, I'm hoping to get a slightly better setup for this in the future, to be able to go and have like a tripod that will like able to swivel, like the push of a button from a remote or something. I don't know, but yeah, I think that'll be fun. And here we go. We're heading to, still continuing down 141 here. Although, yeah, no, we're heading the right direction, because Red Vale is about 13 miles from where we're at. That's the stretch of the road that we want to be on, which is where it's going to end up having a little bit worse road conditions. But with the way that honestly this drive's been thus far, I think we'll end up being okay as far as weather conditions goes. It's still about like 41 degrees outside. It's not too bad. It's actually been quite nice, really. When we stopped over at the Flumes, it was a little bit cold, but not enough to go ahead and say I'm not going outside today. But yeah, no, it's definitely been a very nice little drive that we have here. Passed by a few more houses over here in this area. Actually, there's a couple of junkyards I looked at last time, and they had some kind of cool stuff. Sounds like we got a signal again. But yeah, over to the left side, I know you guys can't see it right now, but to the left over here, there's actually some junkyards that have actually got some kind of cool older cars in it, and a couple older buses, a lot of other old equipment around. It's kind of cool. Some of the stuff you can find out, like when you go onto roads like this and just drive, you find a bunch of random little spots like this where they have some kind of neat stuff. And it looked like over there was a K100. I think it was. I can't quite tell from where we're sitting at now. But yeah, no, yeah, just going on drives like this is always like just definitely something fun to go and do. I know where I live in Junction, later nights I'd like to go ahead and sometimes just and I thought about doing it too, and I probably should again, do circuits around the entire valley. Just driving up to like the Monument and the Mesa and just like circuit around the entire town of Junction on back roads. It's definitely a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing that a lot. And here we are in one of the other towns that they ended up driving through in the 3 Jaguars. And we might actually just stop here for a little bit of gas. I think there is a gas station around here if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong though. Like I said, it's been a minute since I've been on this road since I started it during spring. Still definitely a cool little place to see. These little towns are always so much fun to be around. Actually, there's a gas station that's right here. So we're going to go and pull off a little bit and then get some gas, and we'll continue our journey. And here we go. All right, now I'll be back with you guys in just a second. Alrighty then. Now we're going to go ahead and get back right on the road after we got done filling up. I believe we should have enough fuel to be able to go ahead and make it all the way up to Telluride and hopefully back home. There's definitely some decent potholes around here. It's kind of a cool little town this place is. Unfortunately, I can't remember the name of it right now, but I'm going to be passing through here in just a minute to the other side of it to continue going up to Telluride. I believe this is, the town's name is Natarina, if I pronounced that right. Now we continue on. Got some kind of cool older buildings around here and some newer stuff too, which is also kind of neat. I thought about stopping here for lunch, but I think if anything I may just end up probably stopping up at Telluride if find someplace cheap. I'm a bit of a cheap kind of guy at the moment. Then I'll probably just wait till I get back home. It's not too far of a drive. Granted, the route that we're taking right now, it's a bit longer of a drive than the normal way most people would end up getting from Junction to Telluride, but I think it's still a lot of fun taking this route because you can just, again, you see a lot of stuff that just you would never think you would see on back roads like this, and it's always just something fun to go ahead and do. Fire engines over there, along with an older truck too. Those are kind of neat looking. Those would look really pretty if somebody took the time to restore them. Looks like part of a construction yard over here. Yeah, construction company. A couple of tractors here and there. That's awesome. It's kind of neat to see some of that older kind of stuff, and it just makes you think. It's like how everything kind of started out to where it's like we started with like big massive machines, and now we've like come so far as to go and use like phones that we have like right now what I'm recording on. And just the amount of technology and how much everything's changed is just kind of wild to think about it. See if we can increase some speed here. Looks like we are officially out of the canyon we were in. We're actually above most of it. It's definitely kind of a nicer view up here too. A little bit more of kind of a desert-esque sort of look now, and then we're going to drop back down here in just a second. Just a little bit, I don't think by too much. Looks like we've also got some snow over here too, but again, the roads are pretty dry. At least for now, that is. Oh, there's a nice patch of mud over there. Descend back down into the valley here. I believe we're going to be making our next turn. I think we're taking our next turn to the right here, if I'm not mistaken. straight through Norwood, it looks like. Well, yeah, we'll just keep going straight. Pretty sure at some point during the filming of that episode of Top Gear, they probably didn't end up taking that right over there, and they continued down the road that we're currently on. I guess just probably due to time's sake wise to go and get to Telluride. I can't remember if I ended up taking that right. I think I may have during the summer. I ended up taking that road over there to get to Telluride. It was pretty fun. It's not bad. It's got a lot more canyons and stuff in it, and drops down pretty low, close to the river. But I think this may end up being the best route to get to Telluride, taking the back roads as we have this entire journey. Looks like we're heading back up to the top of the valley here, top of the hills. And if you guys can't hear me, I apologize. I did a rear muffler delete on my Challenger just because I like personally listening to the engine. I was thinking about maybe next time when I start doing recording stuff, like I said, I'll have a better setup. I'm also going to probably get a microphone to go ahead and wear too to make it a little bit easier to go ahead and hear me instead of having to raise up my voice a bit. Because I noticed I've had to go and do that this entire time, trying to fight over the sound of the engine, and also with where my phone is currently mounted onto the dash, the speaker's a little bit far away. Well, I mean, the mic's a little bit far away. Storms over there too ahead of us, because normally on the left and the right, and I'm pretty sure you guys can maybe see to the right side, you can see some of those mountains over there, or at least plateaus, versus dead ahead of us. It's a little difficult to see. I'm almost going to be cracking open another drink here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it might be interesting. We might actually end up hitting a storm, so that'll be kind of fun. A lot of farmland over in this area too. by myself right now. I don't have anybody else with me. It's just me in here. Man, I'll tell you about the views around here. It's really pretty to look around here and just kind of take it all in. We're now in Redvale. So from this point forward, according to reports about road conditions, they say there should be a little bit of ice and a little bit of snow. And up at Telluride, they're expected to probably have another 2.5 inches of snow. So we're going to make sure as soon as we end up hitting that sort of slush kind of area they're talking about, and I think it's definitely closer towards Telluride. I think about 5 miles outside of Telluride, they said. We're definitely going to have to go and be careful as we're driving through, because this car is rear-wheel driven, so it can get pretty squirrely when it goes to road conditions like that. But again, we'll definitely make sure that it's going to be a very safe and smooth drive all the way through, and it's going to be a lot of fun to go ahead and go through some weather I haven't been through before in this car, because as Colorado is, our weather is kind of interesting. It likes to go ahead and change a lot. Or at least over in Junction, there's not a whole lot of this kind of weather, but out here, I guess it seems to be normal. But, yeah, no, it's going to be fun. We're going to be fine. Not going to have any issues. It looks like our temp right now outside has dropped down to about 37, so probably will be expecting some icy conditions to exist. So far, it looks like when it comes to the road conditions, what they were talking about being icy, it seems as though we might have just lucked out here and may actually just have dry roads all the way up there, except for Telluride itself. So I mean, hey, that'll be pretty cool though. Definitely starting to see a lot more snow than where we were in the previous areas. These hills are definitely kind of fun to sit and go up and down in, especially if you have cars that have like airbag suspension. Those are always a blast because it just feels like you're riding on a couch, quintessentially a couch. Colorado and you've lived in Colorado for a while, you kind of notice when you look around, there's some areas of Colorado that look similar to others. This area we're going through right now actually looks semi-similar to the outskirts of Durango, which is kind of cool that we have a lot of that sort of similarities in certain areas here in Colorado, and then it also just breaks off and becomes diverse in areas by like by a very large amount. It's kind of cool to see it where you're just driving around on back roads like this where you wouldn't see too many other people driving around, but it's just kind of neat to go ahead and think about how when you're going someplace for like maybe the first or the second time and you compare it to other places you've been to. This is kind of a fun thing I like to go and personally do. I don't know if anybody else does, but it's kind of a neat little thing. Let's see if we've got a little bit of a radio signal, see if we can go and get some music in the background. I don't know how well. No, actually we got nothing, so never mind about that. But yeah, some of the other vehicles you see out here too, there's a lot of like 1960s, 1970s, even some 1950s sort of trucks lying around, and some of these farmlands, it's kind of cool to look at them. Which is something else I also want to try to do with this channel as well, is like do random finds you see of like old vehicles sitting around, or posting more videos or shorts of just like cool and unusual vehicles you wouldn't normally see on a regular basis. It's definitely another big thing I want to try to go and do with this channel as well, and I'm hoping I can go and do that maybe a little bit more than I'm going to actually be able to go and do these longer videos, because right now, as it sits, our very first video for the channel is going to end up being about, I'm going to say possibly 4.5, maybe 5 hours, which I know that's a little long for a lot of people to go ahead and sit through though, but maybe this is something that like people could go ahead and sit through, is just like have some background noise, some white noise in the background, or just kind of watch it for the scenery, and I don't know, maybe take a little bit of interest in what this channel is going to go and try to go and do for its growth. And again, I'm not doing any of this for like money or whatnot. I'm just kind of doing it as a fun little homage to those car shows that we grew up with over the years, and want to kind of continue to do some sort of tradition to it. And it looks like we're actually starting to hit some snow now. I don't know if the camera's picking that up or not, but starting to see some flakes here and there. The good news is the road is still dry, so we should be okay. I think the good news is too is that we're actually in an area where we do have signal now, so in case I need to go ahead and cut the recording short or whatever, I can go ahead and get a quick call for help maybe. But I think if anything, again, we're going to be okay. There's a lot of other vehicles that are on the road here, and it doesn't look like they've hit too much snow from the other vehicles we're passing by. Although I'd imagine, looking at that wall over there, it's just gray. Telluride's probably getting a really decent amount of snow, and odds are we might not make it up to Telluride. I mean, I'll give it the old college try, but if it's possibly going to end up putting me in a situation where I'm not going to be able to get back home, I'll probably end up stopping about as close to Telluride as I can. Then we just call it good for there, and then probably plan another future adventure heading up to Telluride, maybe sometime in like mid-spring to early summer, and just kind of walk around that area when it's like a ghost town, because it's kind of cool just walking around that area and there's nobody there. It's pretty neat. Looks like we're going to be passing through another town here in just a minute. They're having us decrease speed pretty Norwood now, which isn't also too terribly far from Telluride. Still going a little bit too fast here. There we go. So I guess welcome to Norwood, everybody. This is another cool little town I passed through the last time during the summer. Kind of a neat little place here. I've always been kind of a fan of like these smaller little towns where it's closely knitted communities, you know, and everybody knows everyone in towns like this. I think it's kind of cool. It seems like they're very laid back and quiet, which is always kind of a fun thing that you just don't get to see a whole lot of unless like you go out into areas that we're at right now and just take back roads to. But little towns like this are always kind of fun. And I'll tell you what, they do have some of the best diners around. If you're like tired of doing like the chain food kind of stuff, little town diners that are around here are like really, really good. Like that one to the right of us, they've got some great food over there. Even seeing some of like the old historical buildings they have around here too, it's always kind of fun to just take a look at them, because every town's always got a different style of how their like older historical buildings have been built, and it's always nice to see if they're still standing in one piece or if they're abandoned or whatnot. But it looks like a lot of these here are still pretty well maintained, because I'm pretty sure we're on the main street of Norwood. Alright, and that was a little bit of a quick snippet of the town. Unfortunately, the Top Gear crew didn't stop here in this town, but they did pass through it. So for us, we'll continue to head on forward towards Telluride. The next town is going to be Pacerville, which is about 17 miles from here. We're going to go and continue to increase speed, and it looks like the snow may be picking up just a little bit. But again, I'm not entirely too worried because the roads are still really dry. Looking at some of these other cars we're passing by here, it doesn't look like they have a whole lot of snow that's been attached to them. A couple wet spots here and there, but I think that's okay. However, we're going to start making sure that instead of going about like 5 miles over the speed limit now, we're going to probably start going just the actual speed limit for safety's sake. Because you never know, these weather conditions are always prone to changing. Like for 1 minute, as we were at the beginning of the journey, it's pretty clear skies, not a whole lot going on, pretty dry, and then now we're within more or less the home stretch of getting to Telluride, and now the snow's starting to pick up a little bit, but then it's also kind of dying down. It's in that weird sort of area for it. But again, just want to go ahead and make sure that we're staying safe and not doing anything too crazy or reckless. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking we're definitely going to be driving within that snowstorm that's going to be coming through. And I know earlier in the video there was a sign that did say, be cautious of a snowstorm warning. Which, if anything, this may also end up passing through to Junction by the time we get to Telluride itself. And by the time this video is posted, that storm's probably going to be passed anyway. Looks like they got a couple wet patches up here on the road, which isn't too bad. That's okay. A lot of icing on some of those buildings. That's crazy, those icicles, man. Take down our speed here once again. We're going to be passing through another town. not mistaken, this is where it starts descending into another canyon that rides alongside the river. Or I think it's actually a little bit further than this. I can't 100% remember. Like I said, I did this trip during like late spring, early summer this year. But, oh, nope, actually, I think it is this one. Yep, nope, it definitely is, because there's the canyon right there. It opens up real big and nice. It's super pretty. And, looks like there's a slide area here, so we're definitely going to go and be careful making our way down this, because we certainly don't want to go and be sliding out of control and end up down in that canyon, because that is that's a pretty far drop, guys. I know you can't see it right now, but what I'm seeing on the left side of the road here, that's a pretty decent drop. It's not as bad as like going through the actual Rocky Mountains itself, though, but that's still a drop you don't want to go down and just fly off the road on. So we're gonna take this nice and easy going down and using our brakes properly, making sure we're not going to be burning our brakes. Not that I think we're really going to need to, but it is getting colder, so we could end up passing the freezing point by the time we get down to the bottom of this, which could cause issues with your brakes, and you certainly don't want that to happen. So taking it nice and slow is the biggest name of the game here. Oh, and it looks like we actually got a bus coming up this direction too, so that's kind of cool. They don't seem too worried at all, and knowing them, they're heavier than us. But it's also not in service. Yeah, there's a little bit more water on the road here. You guys can probably go and see that in the camera. But it looks like the good news is these roads have been plowed. I was checking this the other night too, and it looked like they were plowing the roads fairly early in the morning, at least around, I think, maybe midnight to 2 in the morning. They were plowing these roads here, so that's good news. But there's still plenty of water, and I don't know if the camera picked that up or not, but you could hear a little bit of splashing of water on the tires of the car. But again, I think we're going to be okay through here. I try to go and be about as safe driver as possible. Granted, again, I'm not perfect. Now, most people usually aren't when it comes to driving, but, you know, when you're in certain vehicles, you definitely do have to be a lot more careful about the way that you drive, and knowing that we're in a muscle car, a sports car, whatever you like to classify the newer Dodge Challengers, you still definitely got to be be very careful about this. Granted, yes, the Dodge Challenger is a heavy car, but sorry about that cut there. Once again, folks, my phone decided to go and overheat, so I've got the AC going once again. There we go, turn that down so you can probably go and hear me now. Yeah, sorry about that. The phone overheated again, so I'm gonna have the AC running in here for a little bit. Granted, it's gonna be a little bit colder than I'd hope it'd be, but it's the only way I can go and make sure my phone's not gonna overheat and stop our recording. So we made it down to the bottom side of the canyon here. Now, as you can see, we're further into this canyon. I can't remember what this one's called, but right now we're kind of driving right next to the river. The good news is that the river isn't frozen over. It's got a little bit of snow next to it on the banks, but we should still be okay. As you can also go ahead and see, it's getting a little bit more snowy up here, but the roads are still pretty clear, which is really nice. It's very nice. There's definitely a lot more snow up here, and it does look like we're going to be heading into that storm, because I can see, and you can probably also see to the right side of the camera there, some big clouds that are on the way that may end up obscuring vision going up to Telluride. Like actually up the side of the mountain to Telluride. Could be wrong though, but I guess we'll just go ahead and see and find out then. So far as you can see, a lot of the trees have definitely lost their leaves, except for the pines. Definitely looks really cool. I like the random spots of like snow they have on the trees. It's kind of definitely cool. It gives you the very much like winter wonderland-esque, like Christmas kind of feel. But yeah, no. So we're just gonna keep riding along this road here and See how far we can make it. Oh, it actually looks like, and I know you guys can't see it right now, but they're to the right side of us. Looks like there's a few frozen lakes over there. Excuse me. But excuse me. But again, I'm not too worried about it. The roads are still pretty dry from where we're at. I'm gonna be trying to use the windshield wipers, not a whole lot, just to go ahead and make sure we're not obscuring the footage here, but also it's not like there's a whole lot of snow to worry about, or at least it's not coming down super hard where we gotta worry about that kind of thing. It looks like now we're descending a little bit further down into the canyon, so it's most likely gonna be like this for a little bit of just kind of these lull ups and downs going through here, which will be fun. But if anything, we should be okay. I haven't seen any other signs that are warning us about icy conditions yet. It's about 35 degrees outside as we are right now, which that's not bad. The good news is it's still a little bit above freezing temperatures, so the roads are still going to be pretty dry, and again with the snowfall not coming down as much, we should be okay, and we shouldn't have to worry about it too much. And if anything, hopefully by the time we get there, and then when I start leaving, when we end the recording, the road should still end up being okay. But of course I'm going to be taking a different route to get back home, because for speed and convenience sake, because right now we basically been on the road, folks, for about well, I want to say about almost like 4 hours now. I started this at about 10:30 this morning, and now it's about 2:02 in the afternoon, so we're going to be more or less roughly at this for about 4 hours, which is basically just a regular trip to Denver at this rate. But we could also have gotten to Telluride a little bit faster. But again, I wanted to share this way to get to Telluride with everybody, because it's a very beautiful drive, as everybody's like seen, between starting our trip over in Junction and making our way through Gateway all the way to where we're at now, and just watching the transition of like the seasons, of regard of like, oh, it looks like it can still be like autumn over in Gateway with a little bit of snow, and then coming to here to where it looks like it's very much definitely the winter, and giving that winter wonderland-esque sort of vibe, like I mentioned earlier in the video. And it looks like that mountain over there is a little bit hazy, so it's probably going to get a little bit denser with the snow, and that's okay. Roads are starting to look a little bit wetter now, at least in the part that we're at least within the track area we're at right now, as you folks can go and see. But yeah, there's still other people driving around, so I'm not too worried about it. Again, it's very beautiful, just a very wonderful drive. This entire trip is just definitely worth like taking a weekend just to enjoy a cruise. If you guys like driving around, I'd recommend this route. You go and take just a drive. You can drive this at any point, you know, and it's still going to be beautiful, either during the spring like I did earlier this year, or even now. It's a very beautiful drive, very like relaxing kind of drive, and it's definitely a lot of fun, you know. And I think a lot of other people would very much enjoy this drive too, if you're big into like taking cruises and stuff like that, or just kind of want to relive certain moments from like your favorite shows. Definitely gonna have to start slowing down here a little bit too, because don't exactly know how these corners are going to end up being. I imagine that, again, they're still going to be okay, but not enough to sit there and go, oh shoot, I got to drive like 10 miles under the speed limit, otherwise I'm going to go flying into the river. Which obviously nobody wants that. Well, it looks like now, and I don't know if you folks saw that on the camera, there's a little bit of ice that's around the edges of the water. So it's been definitely cold up here, and it's going to start getting cold up here again. So definitely going to have to be careful when driving back possibly in the dark, depending. I don't plan on spending too much time up there in Telluride, because if it gets too dark, then obviously everything's going to start freezing, and then that's a whole other ordeal. And I've driven a few times down Eisenhower and Vale Pass, like in the dark, freezing, in a Chevy S10. And I'll tell you what, man, those grades with like ice, it's not great. It's not something I would personally recommend you try. But I know obviously a lot of truckers go ahead and do that, and they usually chain up and know what they're doing, which is very good for them. But yeah, no, it's just anybody who's just wanting to take a cruise, I definitely recommend you be careful on stuff like this, because it can end up getting real bad real quick. I know most people don't tend to think about that kind of thing, but it's definitely something I would consider just as safety precautions, because as you guys probably saw within the channel, I ended up posting that I originally was going to do a live stream on the 3rd of December, which was a Wednesday, but decided to move it to today due to weather conditions, because the weather conditions on Wednesday for this entire road trip we're doing right now were pretty harsh. They were getting to roughly about, and I think I mentioned in that comment, anywhere between 6 inches to like a foot of snow. And knowing how my treads are on my car, the tires, probably wouldn't have been able to go too far with that. Versus today, it's actually been a little bit better, which is nice, because again, like we experienced earlier, there's a lot more dry patches we were on, and this is only the wet part that I guess would be a concern. But so far, it seems fine. There's still other people, again, that are driving around and seem to be okay with it. But, yeah. Definitely still be careful when you're going through stuff like this. As you can see, it's starting to look like the snow may be picking up a little bit here. Now it looks like we're almost about at that front, well, I guess a front, yeah. That just wall of gray, which means the snow's probably picked up more in that area than it has anywhere else. But again, that's fine. I'm not too worried about it. Because again, look, there's other drivers. They're driving along the road without an issue. And I'm thinking too, depending on how that hill may end up being, going up to going up to Telluride, we may have to get a decent running start at it. Well, like I said, if I'm not going to be able to get too far up on that hill, then we'll just end it wherever we stop and call it good from there. And then plan on another video in the future of another route we'll go ahead and plan out. And I'll take suggestions too, if anybody's got some decent suggestions, you know. Well, actually, every suggestion's good. It's not a matter of decency. It's a matter of, I guess, being able to go ahead and fund doing the trip and finding the time to do it. But like I said, I'm not doing this for profit or anything. I'm just doing this as something fun to do, because you just never know when you're going to have opportunities to do stuff like this, you know, and want to try to go ahead and give other people something cool to go ahead and do, you know, and something just fun. If you enjoy driving, enjoy all the old car shows we all grew up with, you know, it's just something neat to do, you know. Yeah, now road's starting to get pretty wet out here, so that only tells me that it's probably going to go ahead and, like, the snow conditions are definitely going to go and start changing. I don't want to say dramatically, but they're going to change a good amount when we at least get to, I think, least the base of like the mountain we gotta climb to get to Telluride. Hoping too the phone is staying cooled enough as well. Again, I've got my AC running in here to try to keep the temperature of my phone down, and should be okay, I think. Definitely starting to see a lot more water on the road. And if you look at that there, taking it right over here, we're heading to Telluride and Mountain Village. So you look at that, we're almost there. Just this little turn off right here. And when I come back, I'm going to be actually going straight over that way because it's the faster route to get out of here. If you look here, the good news is that Telluride, from where we're at right now, is about 16 miles away, and then Mountain Village, which is where technically they did end up ending the episode of Jags. They ended it at Mountain Village, and that's about another mile from where we just were right there. So about another 17 miles to go, and we'll be there, folks. So now we got more of a forest-esque kind of feel, which is cool. And here's Placerville. Yeah, so it's looking like a lot more. Yeah, now we've definitely, like, I could say with certainty, hit the wetter parts of the road, which definitely gonna have to be careful coming back, and hopefully it doesn't drop any colder. Because right now, again, we're still sitting at about 34 degrees, according to what the instruments of the Challenger are saying. Which, that's good news. So we don't have to worry about ice until probably later, and I'm assuming probably around, should be around either 5:30 or 6. That definitely gonna have to worry about, because it's gonna definitely get dark around here pretty quick. So far, again, it's only like 2:13 in the afternoon. We're doing okay for weather conditions. Not too worried about it. Yeah, the roads are definitely wetter around here. See the reflection of the road, or at least the reflection of whatever's driving on the road, that is. to it, and I don't think you guys can probably see a whole lot of it because some of these houses and stuff are tucked into the trees. It's kind of cool. It reminds me going up to Carbondale. The path to Carbondale is kind of the same way, where they've got houses like tucked into the trees next to like the river or up towards the mountain. Also going up to Uray, it's kind of the same thing too, which is cool. Which we're most likely going to be passing through, I think, or at least I'm going to be passing through on the way back, if I remember how the road went correctly. Yeah, no, these fun little drives like this, it's definitely cool, and a lot of other people kind of go and enjoy this too. Check that out. The tops of those mountains are just completely just gone because of those clouds up there. It's really cool. There's a nice house that's over there to the right side too. That's actually kind of really wicked looking. Another one over here. Looks a little bit older. Actually a little bit newer, more or less. It's always kind of cool to see those that just sit right off that river there. Now we're in Saw Pit, which will probably just be passing through very quickly here too. Not a whole lot to this town either, but there's a gas station there and a regular market. It's pretty cool. Always like those little mom and pop markets. Those things are kind of cool. They got some great stuff in those, and always have great customer service. They do. Alright, so now it looks like we're going to be increasing the speed up to 50 miles an hour here. Which again, we're going to definitely have to be careful. As you guys can go and see, it's really reflective on the road. Starting to pick up. Oh, look at that. Yeah, just not too far ahead of us. You can't, like, you can see part of that mountain there, but it's definitely going to be fogging up real quick to where it's like we're going to not see a whole lot past that. I think this is about where that wall was at we were driving towards earlier in the video. just drove up there and then are leaving now. Probably wanting to outbeat part of the storm the same way I want to try to go and do when we end the video. Speed up to about 50 miles an hour. Start making our climb up to Telluride, because it feels like there's a slight angle going upward now. Also, probably looks like it too. It's just like one big wall of gray. That's crazy. Up in here is the part that they were talking about in the weather report I saw, of it being mostly slush and water. And we're now getting to a point where it's now 32 degrees outside. So we're definitely have to make sure we're going to be careful here, because this could all be frozen at almost any point, really, if left alone for too long, if people aren't driving on it. But so far, we're fine. As long as we just keep up our momentum and making sure that we're not, like, white-knuckling the steering wheel, we should be alright. I'm not too worried about it, though. This isn't bad. best idea we're going to go ahead and do right now too is that we're just going to hug the backside of this van here just in case. Don't want to risk doing anything too hasty, because as the temperature's dropping more and more now, we're now at 30 degrees, which means that left lane could probably end up being pretty slick and kind of dangerous, as now you can see with the road it's basically turned into let's go ahead and find the road. Basically it's more or less slush, and I can feel it within the wheels right now as that they're trying to spin faster than what I'm doing for speed. Definitely gonna have to go ahead and be careful here. It looks like they've got some road services just ahead of us. Oh, it's a snowplow, so that's good news. So looks like they're going to try to be maintaining the road about as best they can. Yep, there they go. Ah, that was nice. Folks, it looks like we're just about up at Telluride, or at least Mountain Village. This area seems pretty familiar. I'm gonna see, before we actually get to Mountain Village, I'm gonna try to go in and get us up to the Telluride airport, get some footage from up there, because it's really beautiful up there, honestly. Not mistaken, how we get there is we go through the roundabout and it's going to be a left. Yeah, because you can see right there on the right, Telluride straight ahead, and the Mountain Village is to the right, and that's where the Grand Tour ended up taking their cars, the Jags, down the slopes up there in Mountain Village. But where they perform one of the other tests is actually going to be up here at the airport. And I'm hoping the road up there is going to be decent, so that way get some nice footage of it. It'll be cool. I don't know, we're going to try to turn off over here and see if we can get onto it, and hopefully not get stuck. Oh, there's a little bit of slide there. Definitely a lot more slide. Oh. And it looks like we're probably not going to be able to go and do that, because right now we are just sliding in place. Didn't have enough momentum. Okay, so that's not going to happen. So what we're going to go and do is actually make our way over to the village. Hopefully we can get up there. If not, then we'll go ahead and cut the video for here. Just trying to back down here very carefully without getting stuck. Because definitely don't want to. My tires are not rated for this kind of weather. Even if I take it slow enough, might just be able to turn. There we go. There we go. Alright, so the good news is we're going to get back on the main road here. Not an issue. There we go. Alright, so much for going up to the airport, because definitely looks like we're not going to make that. It's definitely not going to agree with the tires of my car. But I mean, hey, that's okay. At least we gave it the old college try to get up there. So now we're going to try to go up to Mountain Village, see if we can make that drive. If we can't, then I guess we'll just end the video wherever I stop at. But honestly, the way that the road looks, and you guys can go and see it ahead of us, I think we should be okay to get up there. It looks like this road's been used quite a bit compared to the airport. I think we'll make this. It's okay. There's a few other cars I'm seeing here that you probably wouldn't expect to get up there, such as, I think that was a Toyota Camry back there. Yeah, I think we'll make this. We'll be okay. Let's see if we can go ahead and end this at one of the slopes where they ended up stopping at with the Jags. And I'm thinking as long as we keep up momentum here, we should be able to go ahead and make it up there. Coming back down is going to definitely be interesting. I mean, the good news is it looks like that's just been freshly plowed over there. Just trying to make sure we don't slide too well, because I did notice when we were trying to get up to the airport for Telluride, it did get a bit slippery on that turn. And again, it could be a combination between the amount of power that this car has going to the wheels, the rear wheels, and it also could end up being due to the kind of tires I have on here, which I've already could guarantee I'm going to hear in the comments going, why are you using summer tires? Well, it's because when I bought this car about a year ago, I never swapped out the tires because they still had a good amount of tread on them. I figured, I'm like, okay, I'll just go and keep wearing them down until I've got nothing else on them, which we all, as most people would know, tires are just expensive, man. But so far, they're able to go and last me through this next season. Should be okay, and then after that, there's a bit slide there. Probably should be okay till next season, then I'll go ahead and get some new tires. But yeah, definitely one of the challenges of like having a car like this is that, yeah, you got to be careful of that slide, because again, with the tires I have on and just knowing how much power is being sent to the tires through this, it definitely, you can feel it when you slide around a little bit. And also consider we don't have 4x4 like most of these other vehicles. It definitely makes it a bit more of a challenge, because as you guys can go and see as we're driving along here, a lot of these other vehicles here definitely would most likely have 4x4 in them, or all-wheel drive, versus us where we don't have that. Yep, Mountain Village, just over this way. You can see if we can get up in here. Pretty sure we can. Looks like a lot of people have been using this road up, and there's that little bit of slide again. And I'm immediately getting the warning that I don't have any traction from the car. So definitely got to be careful coming up here. Ooh, a little more slide there. But if we, again, oh, there's more of it. Again, if we can keep up more of the momentum, we should be okay, but obviously not too much. And hopefully not have to come to a complete stop and get stuck. I'm going to try to flutter the gas a little bit here. There we go. Well, as you guys can go and probably hear right now, we're definitely got a bit of a traction problem, but it's okay. We're still doing just fine. Imagine these guys up here are probably going to be really busy, and oh, this is going to be a really cool view for you guys. When we get over to the left here, you're going to have to see it. A lot of the snow here, or like the way that the clouds form around the mountains here, it's really pretty. You can see that probably off the left side there, the way that the clouds are just forming around the mountain. It's really cool. You can just see part of the mountain there. The rest of it's just a wall of snow. It's really cool. I guess right now we're just going to keep following this Lexus. Oh, a little bit of a lot of slide there. Definitely going to have to be careful. Especially, again, when you got a car that doesn't have great tires and also the amount of power it likes to output through the rear wheel. Definitely got to be careful about traction up here. But all in all, we're still doing pretty okay. Just got to take it nice and slow. But obviously don't want to lose too much speed, because otherwise we're going to get stuck and That's going to be a whole ordeal. Looks like we got a couple shuttle vans that are coming through. Try to pick up a little bit of speed here so we don't slide and stop. I think again we should be okay. Oh, well, and there's the slide there again. And as I can see right now through my rearview mirror, man, we are kicking up definitely a lot of snow, which doesn't entirely surprise me because again, like I said, with the tires I'm using here, it's not exactly what most people would consider optimal. And I guarantee by the time we get out, we'll definitely see that there's a lot of snow buildup on the car here. Straight here now. Oh, let's see, and there's an Audi that just came up here, but he's probably got all-wheel drive though, so he's okay. And it looks like just gonna go through here. It's a little bit rough there, but that's okay. We made it through. And if you look at that right now, we're in Mountain Village. At least the road where I took, because it's about the same. They got the public parking that's over there. Probably not going to stop for too long just because, again, I don't want to get stuck trying to get out of this because I probably will. There's a market we could have pulled off over there. That would have been fine. But, yeah, we're going to keep going a little bit farther. Should be okay. Just going to have to definitely take it slow because it looks like they've got pedestrian crossing that's coming through here. A lot of the snow is definitely compacted around here, but there's still the potential of having a lot of wheel slide around. And I'm hoping that's not what we're going to have to experience trying to leave. Just take it nice and steady, try to get a running start here like this Toyota in front of us. But again, he's probably got all-wheel drive and he's probably going to do better than us. But I think honestly, as long as you're gentle about it, you should be okay. And if you look at that, here we are. We have made it to Mountain Village Center. So look at that, that's pretty cool that we actually managed to make it up this far. Definitely kind of need to go and see a lot more activity up here than it was during the summer. Oh, this is definitely pretty cool, guys. Just being up here and seeing how much busier it is up here. Like this is really cool in all honesty. Definitely still have to be careful because I know there's people walking around here. I'm gonna see if I can find a place to stop and kind of do an outro. Maybe a little bit difficult considering. slight mistake here. Yeah. So odds are we're probably going to be ending the episode pretty soon. Let's see if I can just go in reverse. Perfect. Because I definitely do not want to be right here at the moment. So I'm going to try to see if I can go and turn around. Might just be able to. You guys can't see what I'm seeing right now, but I'm trying to be as careful as possible backing up here so that way I don't hit anybody else. So far, so good. Another little road I'm going to try to pull off onto to be able to turn around. We'll start heading back down, because I think this is about as far as we can go, at least where I'm not going to get stuck, because I'd rather not get stuck up here. I'd rather very much like to get home. All right, here we go. Well, alrighty then, folks. So I guess this is where we'll just go ahead and call the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this trip. This has once again been Cross Country Challenger. Expect more videos in the future. Going to be posted at random times, but thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys on the next ride, so stay tuned.